Greetings from the Whole Elephant Institute. Today is December 1st, 2020. Today, the Whole Elephant Institute want to comment on a very important subject. It's on the subject of messenger RNA vaccine. Okay. I think this is going to be a very important subject for everyone. And my name is Dr. Lotus Kingwise, and I came from mainland China at the age of 21, arrived in America at the age of 21, started to study life science, modern life science, and from 1988 to 1992, I at the time was under the name of Dr. Tongwen Wang. So let's review the stage of Dr. Tongwen Wang back in 1988. So 1988, Dr. Tongwen Wang was a new graduate student and joined the Department of Anatomy and the Cell Biology Department in the area of cell biology and the developmental biology, and started to carry out the doctoral work. And then after 4 years of efforts to study the life phenomena with the modern science approach, graduated with a PhD degree and went to Harvard Medical School and started to work on the area that concerns the fundamental mechanism of cancer. So 1993 to 1999, 7 years at Harvard Medical School, and worked on a very important family of molecules that actually orchestrate the fundamental cell fate in terms of birth, aging, sickness, and death of cell. The molecules, they are called the TGF-beta signal transduction cytokines. And from then on, moved on to study the fundamental mechanisms at the molecular level. So with very intensive research efforts in the most frontier life science field, those 7 years at Harvard, and then later 5 years at the West Coast University of Washington, and a top-notch immunology research center to further the study of the molecular level mechanisms of the cell. So in every regard, walked through a journey of most frontier modern life science field, and therefore very well versed in all areas of modern life science, particularly the most frontier life science research. So sitting here now in front of everyone, I actually have the confidence as a leading expert in the modern life science field to make some important comments on the messenger RNA vaccine subject. And to sit here with the fundamental motivation to alert everyone that we are not dealing with a mechanical machine of a human body. We actually are dealing with what we called the human body universe. I want to approach the subject this way because I think the fundamental flaw of the ongoing modern life science field is exactly because of a wrong foundation, a wrong assumption that the human body actually is a molecular machine that can, human intelligence has the ability to master and control the behaviors of the molecules of this molecular machine, and therefore has the power to be able to play with human body and to manipulate the cells, manipulate the molecules, and therefore to be able to conquer human diseases of all kind. So, the arrogance and the ignorance of the current, fundamental assumption of the modern life science field leads to the current extreme danger that humanity is now facing. And in the area of vaccine, as a matter of fact, this is a very clear example how dangerous with the wrong foundation of modern life science and with the totally ignorant, arrogant assumption of what mankind can do to manipulate the molecules, to manipulate the cellular behaviors, and even try to manipulate the immune system, and to fool around with, playing with the immune system, and still try to claim that such approach will be safe. It's going to take quite a lot of detailed analysis with language that everyone can understand to allow everyone to grasp what I can see today, the extreme danger of messenger RNA vaccine. But I want to assure everyone that, such a conclusion is based upon very honest investigation of the entire frontier life science field, and all those scientists in the current field of molecular biology, cell biology, microbiology, immunology, virology, cancer biology, and you name it, biochemistry. The very carefully defined, areas of modern life science with leading experts all over the world, with honest investigations of the molecules and the cells. And by this time, this community of modern life science field, if still has a sense of justice, a sense of conscience, a fundamental sense of, being professional and uphold fundamental professionalism, ethics, human morality, and to speak the truth, and has no fear for losing funding because of, speaking truth that actually challenges the current establishment of the grant funding system and those so-called leading authorities and experts, and they are actually fooling around with pseudoscience and propaganda, and for political means and for profit, for their rigid framework that were established a long time ago and has been challenged multiple times by the most recent discoveries in these areas, but still refuse to be changed, and still being held up and presented to the general public as the truth, and has kept all this new discoveries pretty much in the dark, so that the general public still are fed with fairy tales, really fairy tales in every regard, to make the human body, make the cell so mechanical, so simple, so easy to manipulate, and as if those are possible. That is the fundamental problem right now ongoing. I think in face of the so-called messenger RNA vaccine, and today I personally watched the live video of Mr. Mark Zuckerberg and so-called expert Dr. Fauci, and how when Mr. Mark Zuckerberg presented a question to Dr. Fauci regarding messenger RNA vaccine, the mechanism and the tests and the safety issues and the period of time that it can, cover, and many very important questions, and how Dr. Fauci presented fairy tale answer, totally ignorant and arrogant and irresponsible statements to mislead the general public, to present pseudoscience to the general public, and to give false promise to the general public. And it's so dangerous to allow that to continue. So I just want to hear, make a strong statement as the president of the Whole Elephant Institute. I want to make a very serious statement that, Dr. Fauci, he claimed to be the expert, the leading expert. No, he actually is presenting totally irresponsible statements to mislead the general public, to misrepresent the entire field of modern life science. And his statements are not scientific. It's totally pseudoscience. It's fairy tale. And I think such irresponsible statements has severe consequence, and therefore, it has to be stopped. And in every way, the scientists in the modern life science field, as I just mentioned, in the area of molecular biology, cell biology, microbiology, biochemistry, immunology, especially virology, infectious disease, all these areas, there are amazing experts, there are amazing scientists, there are amazing frontier discoveries. And, if these scientists are willing to stand up and to, speak the truth, and to, guide the general public with the, true discoveries that each one of you have published, but the general public cannot understand, and to bring the truth of what the potential extreme dangerous consequence of injecting messenger RNA that encodes part of the viral spike protein into the human body, and without very carefully study the severe consequence of such action, how can anyone make such an irresponsible assurance to the general public that's going to be safe down the road, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years? And what is going to happen to those people who are injected by the messenger RNA of a viral protein into the body, and being assured that they will be able to conquer a virus? And at this point, regarding a virus, we don't even know the source of the virus, the true source of the virus. and very little is known about the virus in terms of careful studies that virologists would do, and in terms of the impact of the messenger RNA injection into the human body and how it's going to be impacting the human immune system. And there are many very important studies that needs to be carried out, but before those studies are finished, how can anyone to make such outrageous claim of safety to the general public, to mislead the general public, and with wild claim to even inject everybody, and to claim to inject the children, and to make the claim that it's going to deliver herd immunity. This is absolutely outrageous pseudoscience that needs to be stopped. Okay, so today just want to make that beginning intro, and the whole Elephant Institute will work with the leading experts to very carefully lay out the fundamental knowledge for the general public regarding how the human immune system works, how the normal vaccination is developed, and why it needs to take so long, and why those are the necessary steps to assure the safety of a vaccine, and why right now the shortcut of a messenger RNA vaccine, so-called, is extremely dangerous, and it cannot be assumed to be safe based upon the current such short period of time of study, and it has the potential danger to wipe out the normal human immunity, with a large-scale inoculation of such so-called vaccine, which is not a vaccine. Okay, and there is no solid science to back it, and the general public are being deceived, and these small cluster of people, out of their pursuit for profit, they are manipulating politics. They are using the government system to impose such pseudoscience, arrogance, and irresponsibility, and a dangerous product onto the general public. So it's very serious, and it has to be stopped.